Is it possible that codependency is ruining your relationships with others, or could this be the reason that you're attracting narcissists in your life? And the answer is most probably yes on both fronts. When we're in these narcissistic relationships, we wait so long to get them to change, thinking that this is going to fix everything. But the thing is that as long as we don't fix it inside of us, we're going to continue to attract people who take advantage of us and who do not respect us. And I've seen this firsthand when I sought out a hypnotherapist to help me leave a husband years ago, and how he changed his ways when he saw me changed. I mean, I saw such a miracle in the changes that I myself became a hypnotherapist. But I'm not telling you to go to hypnotherapy sessions here, although it's definitely a good idea if you want change for yourself, not because you want to change another. So if you go to my channel and scroll down my homepage, you're going to find a free MP3 hypnosis session that you can listen to, and then you can use it to help you gain, or regain rather, your sense of self and your confidence, as long as you do it twice daily for approximately 3 weeks. And you'll see major changes. But the thing is you don't just want to use that as the be-all, end-all here. That's one of the mistakes I made. And then I attracted another narcissist. You still need to work on self if you want to heal the codependency. But anyway, I'll leave a link in the description down below. So hi everybody, Deanna King here for those who don't know me, and on this channel we talk all things narcissism and codependency. So today's topic is all about taking a really good look at what codependency is, because it isn't merely about being too kind, and it's not always pretty. So if you're really wanting to improve your life, then keep watching. We're going to start with looking at what it is, and then we're going to move on to how it affects others and the impact that it has on your relationships with not only your partner, but also with friends, family, and coworkers. So let's take a look at Wikipedia and how it describes codependency. Codependency is the concept that attempts to characterize imbalanced relationships where one person enables another person's addiction or poor mental health. And although the definitions, they vary, they typically include, number one, high self-sacrifice, which means that a person would give up on one's own interest or wishes in order to help others or advance another person's cause. And you see that in relationships where one partner is going to give up their own wants, their own careers, in order to support the other partner in their endeavors, such as going back to school, for example, becoming a lawyer or a doctor. And often what happens in toxic relationships is the partner is going to take full advantage of the generosity. But once they're stable in their careers of choice, they're going to discard the partner, leaving them high and dry. Nice, huh? Number two, a focus on the needs of others. And of course, it's always good to focus on other people's needs, but when it comes to the cost of ignoring your own needs, then that's when it becomes problematic. When we're codependent, we compromise our health, our time, and our joy. And then focusing on the needs of others all the time like that, while ignoring yours, it stems from low self-esteem. Number three, suppression on one's own emotions. As codependents, we never open up about how we feel, and so we end up becoming passive aggressive. Well, that's to survive though, but it is what it is. But no one can hold in emotions without some type of consequence. And one of those consequences is resentment. And then, of course, if you're with a narcissist, it's pretty much impossible, like I just said, to express your emotions. But it's the codependency that attracted you to them in the first place. So we're afraid to show emotions to them, of course. But what about everyone else? When it comes to trying to express our emotions to friends, we're afraid. We're afraid to look needy. We're afraid to look weak because we have this shame wound. We feel shame around feeling needs of any kind. We're afraid of the rejection because we were taught that we're just too much. So we end up feeling that we bother people. And then if we do talk about our needs to our friends, for example, we end up feeling guilt and then embarrassment. And then lastly, we try to control or fix other people's problems. Anybody relate to that? So if, for example, your friend is looking for curtains for their new place, the codependent is going to spend all their time searching for the perfect curtains for the friend when the friend was only half looking. Or if the partner is out of work, the codependent is going to take on the responsibility of finding work for them as if it's their responsibility to do in the first place. Not. And that's all for the need and acknowledgement, because the codependent was never made to feel as though they were enough to be deemed important enough for anybody's time. And then codependency behavior can vary from person to person also. Some codependency behaviors are not severe enough to present observable symptoms to the outer world, especially when it's situational, meaning that the codependency may only be present within intimate relationships, but not friendships, for example. Okay, so let's take a look now at the impact on how it affects others and the impact it has on those that we love. The first one I want to mention is unstable and intense relationships. We get into these huge fights and arguments, and many times severe with others because of our sensitivity to triggers. We also are sensitive. It isn't just the narcissist that's easily triggered here. We get into these huge fights because of the rejection that we feel inside, all the pain that we were never able to express. It's all built up and it's stuck within us. And so we feel all this resentment. We feel deep resentment. That's not a fun way to wake up every morning. Number 2, unable to be alone and sometimes always wanting to be alone. And if it's the former, the codependent might find themselves needing to call their friend every day, where it can actually overwhelm the friend. They may be presenting themselves as being the caring friend who's just checking in. But the truth is it's really about neediness, and whether we're aware of it or not, we're all readers of energy. When someone is behind us staring, we sense it, right? Or when someone walks into a room with this low energy, we feel that too. And it is no different than feeling a person's energy when they're being manipulative. And unfortunately, we kind of are being manipulative. Well, it's not on purpose, and it's not intentful, but it is there. And if you're stating that you're just checking up on them, when in actuality you're feeling needy, others will feel it. They assume your motives and intentions, and it drains them. And often the intention, of course, behind the call is to find a way to be needed somehow, because the codependent needs to be needed. Otherwise, they feel worthless. Everybody needs to be needed. It's just that we just weren't needed growing up. So it's lacking in us. So we're really looking for it. I'm not blaming you here. I'm not telling you that it's your fault. And you're not bad here. I'm just saying that this is the outcome of the trauma that you've been through, and it can be changed. Now, if it's the latter and the codependent wants to be alone all the time, it can also have an impact on relationships with others who may want to go somewhere with a group where the group is really looking forward to said event. But the codependent canceling puts a damper on the experience. And so later on, they tend to invite less or expect less from the codependent. Number 3, we lower our own standards and values for others. In other words, some codependents might stop contact with their friends every time that they become involved in a new relationship with someone. And that takes a toll on relationships as it leaves the friend feeling betrayed. Another example of codependency can be in your eating habits. Perhaps healthy eating is something that you absolutely value, and maybe you were even trying to heal yourself from a health issue using foods, or maybe you're wanting to diet, but your partner wants fried food all the time. So you put aside your values and your needs to appease them. Or you might value a clean home, but your partner is messy. So now your sense of peace is lost because you're putting up with it. But that's why we have values, so that we can function better in the world, so that we can have peace and joy and hope. Number 4, communication. Because we're afraid to talk about what it is that we want, we expect others to be mind readers. And when they aren't reading our minds, we end up using our own silent treatment towards them. Yes, we do that. We can only change what we acknowledge about ourselves. And so we end up resenting them. Like I said before, people might not be mind readers, but they sure can end up frustrated with you because they sense the energy of your resentment. In turn, they end up resenting you back for keeping you in the dark about your sudden shift in behavior. And then the resentment can also cause us to have these snarky remarks and then mean-spirited comments. I mean, when people are getting the cold shoulder, they don't understand what they did to deserve this treatment, and you're denying them the information needed in order for them to process anything. And that isn't fair. I mean, you may have your reasons for the behavior, such as your own traumas, of course. That's understandable, but it really isn't fair to others. So we need to search deep, and we need to make our own changes, not just for ourselves, but for others. So number 5 is victimhood. Often what happens in codependency in narcissistic relationships, the victim has no choice but to turn to a friend in order to be able to express what they're feeling inside, because, well, they certainly can't turn to the narcissist for those things, right? But the thing is that as codependents, we tend to blame others for what's wrong in our world. And we do because we feel powerless. We can't really express to the people that we should be expressing to, because those are the types of people that we've attracted due to our unresolved issues. So we blame when in actuality it should be us taking the responsibility of clarifying and respecting our own boundaries so that others don't treat us badly. We teach people how to treat us. We just want to be responsible for everyone else, but we won't be responsible for our own lives. And I'm not trying to be denigrating here. We've all been there. But the bottom line is others may be treating us badly, yes, but it's not up to us to control the behavior of another. It's up to us to control our environment, as harsh as that may sound. But what ends up happening when we feel powerless and need to talk to a friend is we more often than not talk about it way more often that is comfortable for the friend. Have you ever had a friend talk about their aches and pains and their doctor appointments, and that's all they ever talk about? Every time you meet up with them, it seems that it's all they ever talk about, and it's exhausting and it is off-putting. You walk away feeling completely depleted, and then, matter of fact, you feel depleted just thinking about them. And unfortunately, it can be the same for your friends or coworkers. And then sometimes your friend might feel low themselves and they want to get together as a change of scenery or some shared laughter so that they can up their frequencies. They just want to feel better. But instead, the codependent ended up stealing the show with once again talking about their issues. We say that the narcissist is self-centered, but we too, in our pain, can become self-centered. Number 6, an overwhelming desire for acceptance. As codependents, we can often find ourselves agreeing with the opinions of others, denying our own individualization in order to feel accepted. And in that, we lose our sense of self. We don't share things that we're interested in or share our beliefs. And then another thing that codependents do for acceptance is they'll post things on social media about how busy that they are and how much they do every day. Not all codependents, I'm not saying we all do that, but some do. Or maybe some might post about how life sucks, and then they place themselves in victim martyrdom mode. But no matter what coat the codependent wears, it's all in an attempt to be seen and to be acknowledged. They aren't doing any of this to be harmful. They are merely trying to survive, as they are literally starving for acknowledgement. But all they need to know is that inside they have that power. They just don't know it. Acknowledgement is key for survival, and growing up without it makes it nearly impossible to move forward in the world. I sound like a broken record. I'm always talking about acknowledgement, but it's true. But it doesn't mean it's too late, though, because even though you were starved as a child, what you can do is start to acknowledge the self. We've spent way too many years trying to desperately get partners and friends and coworkers to acknowledge us through overdoing, overcompensating with perfectionism, compromising self, denying self, and silencing. How's that working for you? Because none of it has ever gotten us what we needed except for temporary relief. It is exhausting. So maybe it's time to turn over a new leaf and turn that need to fix others into a need to fix the broken parts of self. I mean, haven't you been traumatized enough? And haven't you been disrespected enough? Don't you think that you deserve to attract good in your life? Well, I'm here to tell you that you do. And there are lots of courses out there that can help you heal all of this, mine included, that I'll eventually put back up. All the techniques that I give in my course are the very techniques that I used myself to overcome codependency and narcissistic abuse. But anyway, the last thing that I want to mention on the effects of codependency is your health. The disappointments, the frustrations, and all the fear that you've endured have caused your stress levels to be over the top. And these stress levels have caused all kinds of hormonal imbalances, which in turn have caused all types of issues such as digestive issues, weight gain, hair loss, panic attacks, migraines, and a slew of all kinds of other issues. Ask yourself, have you had enough yet? Life is but a blink of an eye. So I leave you with all of this to ponder on, and don't be discouraged by all that I've said today, but rather be encouraged that change can definitely happen if you are willing to change. So bye for now, and we shall see you in the next video.